So I totally beat that fight, and nothing killed me, and I didn't have to do it like 6 times. Yep.
Pretty standard, unqualified victory for the spoiler warning crew.
And now I find most of the stuff that I had from the last level anyway, except the fucking
Oh, great, awesome! That was totally worth taking away the player's equipment then. That absolutely justifies taking away their equipment for one bullshit fight, and then giving it right back to you.
Against birds.
Bravo. You know what, I'm not even gonna go through the effort to do a sarcastic clap, because that actually requires using my toe to hold down one of the keys.
What the fuck?
Your toe?
Yeah, I gotta hold down the press to talk key with my toe and clap. Every time you hear me clap on spoiler warning, that's what I'm doing.
Blitzcarn has extremely complex solutions to simple problems.
Whenever I have a problem, I try to look at it and think, well, what did chimpanzee do in this situation?
Feet.
Exactly. You got a problem with that?
Okay, since we're seconds from dying here.
On!
Yeah, I actually I picked up American Nightmare, and it turns out it fixed a few problems and introduced a lot more, and I'd probably call the whole thing a wash overall.
Really? Because I've been hearing most people say that American Nightmare fixes what's wrong with this game, and it's the game this should have been. So, can you elaborate?
It does. It totally fixes the... Well, let me pull back a little. It doesn't totally fix the combat, but it definitely polishes and refines it to a point where it's more enjoyable than what we're seeing right here. For instance, the flashlight no longer does that passive damage where you just have to look at a guy. You actually have to focus on him to do anything to his shields whatsoever, which makes battery management way more important.
Right, but that's kind of like polishing a bust of Stalin, isn't it? I mean, it's not that the individual elements of the combat works, it's that the way the combat is structured and managed is overwhelmingly terrible. I mean, it just doesn't work on balance.
Well, they made two other...
Oh, okay, good. Go ahead.
They made two other key changes that I think work in its favor. One is that, at least compared to Alan Wake here, it's far more open-ended. It's not the open-world game that Alan Wake was originally intended to be, but it certainly is more of a, hey, you have 3 objectives, go to whichever one you want to go to right now, and take care of business there. Which means that you're sort of fighting guys on a way to an objective of your choice while exploring things. And that works a lot better than just, we are on a treadmill, or we are on a trail, here is the point. Yeah. The other thing they do is, there is way more enemy variety. Here there are guys and fat guys. There's little spider thingies. There are guys where if you shine light on them, they split into multiple people, but they're weaker. So you might want to split into multiple people, but then there are more of them to take care of and they take more bullets. So do you want to fight one really strong guy, or do you want to fight a bunch of weaker guys but take more bullets overall? Interesting things like that.
Still not weird enough for me.
See, those all sound like good additions to the game, and since I like the Alan Wake premise anyway, that sounds like enough to possibly sell me on the game, whereas I've been kind of meh about it. Because, you know, it's like, oh, combat, that's not the greatest part of Alan Wake.
I'm still not sold. There's some underlying things about Alan Wake's structure and presentation.
You can run through some part here, I forget which. But there's a section here where you can just sprint by everybody and hit a light.
Oh, I mean, the game suffers its own problems. First of all, American Nightmare is very much tied to the DLC story that gets introduced with the DLC stuff we're not going to be covering in it, in spoiler warning. So there's that to consider.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm pretty forgiving of bad combat if the story's good, but the story here isn't very good in my opinion, and it wasn't gripping enough for me to want to continue the game. I haven't played it after Chapter 2, because I just don't give a shit about Alan.
Here's a question. Do we know how well American Nightmare is selling?
I have no idea.
As a point of it. Okay. Let me see if there's any figures available on that.
Yeah, I am kind of curious about that now, because I've been hearing nothing but good things about that, and about the core game I've heard nothing but meh. And you know, when I played it, that's about my or at least until I got to chapter 4, which is where I finally cared about the game.
If you're
And
really
I don't blame people like Mumbles that gave up early.
Yeah.
Evidently, what I'm gleaning here is that the sales were pretty good for American Nightmare. Like, it wasn't earth-shattering or anything, but it was pretty good. It did pretty well.
But if you think
it wasn't
about
an extremely high-budget game anyway. I mean,
right. But they spent less money to make it, and it's getting a much warmer reception. And really, the difference between that and this is probably not that huge. And this is just another case where you really need that sort of culture of play testing, not just QA testing, but play testing, Valve style, where you bring in somebody that's never touched the game before, and you don't tell them. You have them go in like a player. Don't tell them what they're supposed to do. Don't tell them the controls, and let them play all the way through without any help from you, and then ask them what they thought. And if they had done that, that would have revealed all these problems with the game much earlier. And these things could have been fixed, before they became set in stone.
And I don't have a problem with this game doing well. Like, I actually think it's good for people to take chances, even if they don't always work correctly. Like,
Absolutely
I was really bummed
agreed.
when I heard about Kingdom of Amular, or whatever, however you say it, about their studio
the
going down.
Studios, yeah.
I was really bummed about that.
What chances did they take?
They tried to flip the fantasy thing a little bit, because it was about, like, changing your fate, and they didn't take a whole lot of chances, but they were a new company, and they made a new kind of game, and, like, I felt kind of bad that they went under, because they could have gone on and tried new things, and it just sucked.
To be fair,
I just like seeing people doing new things.
Without getting too much into their that whole situation, because it's not that relevant. They had about the same business sense as the guys who did All Points Bulletin. So
I felt bad for the people who worked for them, not the people who ran the company, because the people who ran the company ran it into the ground.
And that's a pretty.
Well, this isn't an obnoxious mechanic. How we have to wait
they came out and said that, like,
elevator.
Yeah, I thought this was a secret. It's been a little while since I played.
I did
this part of
too,
the
actually.
game.
The first time I did that too.
They because it's in like a weird
and it's got the Matrix chair up here.
So.
Wow, what is it? We just have the most charming luck with Hellivator.
We'll see you next week.
Good grief.
We're 8 minutes in, Chris. It's probably going to take at least half an hour for Josh to figure this elevator out, so maybe we should save that.
Hey, Callie, remember those elevators?
Yeah, anyway, 38 Studios basically, like, came out and said that the Kingdoms of Amalur that sold about 1.2 million, according to their figures, was a failure because it didn't sell 3 million. And that was what they were banking on to get their money back.
Projections. It did better than what EA thought.
So it's like, you've got EA telling you this game is not going to make the money that you want. Oops.
Yeah.
I don't want my gunfire there.
And they moved their studio.
It's okay, Josh.
They moved it from Massachusetts to Rhode Island.
To Rhode Island to get this loan from the state.
Yeah.
And they
Which
knew they couldn't pay back the loan.
Which is funny because it doesn't fit Kurt Schilling's politics. Like, the whole thing is so stupid. They made the dumbest business mistake.
I think Kurt Schilling's politics is to rip a bunch of people off and not tell them about it until it's too late, and then stick them with second mortgages on houses they thought that the company had sold.
So Kurt Schilling is the guy who owns 38 Studios, or is that what it's called? Anyway, and he is a baseball player, and he was the pitcher for the Red Sox, and then he's like, I love video games, so I'm gonna make a video game company. He also has sort of almost libertarian kind of political views. So then when he went and borrowed money from Rhode Island State, it was sort of like, what? You're borrowing money from the government?
Yeah,
that's
you're
weird.
a libertarian and you're borrowing money from the state? What?
Right. And so
it's
it
a little bit
not only not only was it a bad business choice, but it was like, what are you doing? Like, that seems kind of sleazy.
Hypocritical, yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know.
You know, Kirkland doesn't have to deal with giant crowds of whatever these birds.
Goddamn bats!
Wait. So, how much money did he borrow from the government?
Oh shit! Oh wait, no, I'm on the
It's a
wrong
few
side
million.
now. Ah!
Okay,
Oh
so a
my God,
libertarian
really?
borrows millions of dollars to make video games. That's kind of like being a Democrat and saying, I'm okay with reinstituting slavery as an institution as long as we only enslave illegal immigrants and homosexuals.
I am not looking forward to the comments on this episode.
Oh my goodness.
I'm flabbergasted by, like, that is just the... I'm flabbergasted by the dissonance between views and actions there.
If you believe in a hands-off government, don't go fucking asking money from the government. Like, that
And then,
makes
like,
no science
To make
me.
video
Do
games!
shit that... And then have a business plan that effectively means you'll never be able to pay that back.
So
Yes.
Night Springs.
Yeah.
Oh.
Is not a man entitled to the sweat of
I'm
his
not
brow?
bad-mouthing.
No, it's mine!
I'm not
making
bad-mouthing
games with-
that political view. I'm bad-mouthing people who have a political view and then go the other direction, because it's fucking terrible of them.
We just missed an entire Night Springs episode because of political discourse.
Oh well.
Man, I feel sorry for whoever runs the website that this episode's gonna appear on.
It's a good
It's
thing we
okay.
don't know that person personally.
People in the comments, don't talk about politics. This is a video game fun thing.
Yeah,
Don't get all
we're
mad.
being-
Don't
we're
get
being
mad.
hypocritical here, just like Kurt Schilling.
Bring it over to Digital
Exactly.
Mumbles, 'cause
Our hypocrisy is making a point that you're... Just don't do
What?
it.
Okay, so they're in the
What have I
helicopter.
done?
What are we
They,
doing?
they
right
escaped
now?
the birds, and the Barry and the chick cop have escaped the birds, and they are in the helicopter, and they are helping you out by shining a light on you. That is what we're doing. We also missed a Night Springs episode that was about... that wasn't the Dreams episode, was it?
No, that was back in the Asgard.
Yeah,
thing.
that was. Oh,
Whoa! What happened to the
Oh, this-
spotlight? Why did they
This
just, like,
is the
kick
real-
up the spotlight another 100 feet?
That was the reality hole episode, wasn't it? Where it's like, I've got
Turn
this hole in my
around.
basement. Where's it
Oh
go?
shit!
Yeah, that's what that was.
Oh come on, birds too! God damn it! This is the only time that the game becomes really hard because it's been limiting your resources.
Wait, why does the light follow you instead of you following the light?
Because
I
it's
think
not
they hate
sane.
you.
It's like they're trolling you. You run up and, like, just barely make it inside, and then they kick it forward another 20.
To keep
And then they,
it
like, swing it.
exciting.
They swing it backwards and forwards down the... Like, oh, which way's gonna go? Which way's gonna go? They turn it off, and then turn it back on, and then turn it off, and then turn it back on again.
Oops, that's not the cigarette lighter. She's broadcasting all this to you.
Oh, I lost track of Alan. Where's Alan? Is he this way? Is he this way?
So I'm only about an hour into American Nightmare, but one of the things I do think that it does better is it doesn't throw a bunch of big beefcakey guys at you that take forever to kill. It actually, when you actually do focus the light on them, it goes down much faster, and it's more about choosing a target and focusing on it while the other guys flank you. And this is more like,
Oh, I have a flare gun.
it takes 5 minutes to kill everybody.
That's exactly what it's like. Oh, I have a flare gun.
Man, it's been 30 minutes since we talked to him. I already forgot. Is the guy with the hoodie Alan Wake? Or is that rock on the other side of the canyon Alan Wake? You know what, maybe I should just swing the spotlight back between them just to be on the safe side.
Speaking of confusion with Alan Wake as a character, I do like Mr. Scratch. He is pretty awesome.
I saw the promo spot where they used Mr. Scratch to promote American Nightmare, and it was pretty funny, pretty subversive. I really liked it, and you get to see this guy that's been playing Alan Wake here. You get to see him, you know, like act. He doesn't have the director saying, no, we need blander. We need you to kind of like more stoic, more passive.
I know that's totally what I was saying when I'm like, I know he can do more than Alan Wake, and that was one of the things I cited. He totally can. The direction is, no, read it monotone.
Right, and you get to see that actor really go to town and really enjoy a part, and it was actually fun to watch him do it. I really liked just the promo spot for Mr. Scrat.
I have a question for you. Do you like Caden or do you like Morden better? Just based on voice alone, who do you like better?
Miss Weaver.
Morden.
I'm a friend.
Okay, because Caden is fucking boring, and Morden is actually interesting, and you can hear the guy doing the voice actually acting and like picking out things that he knows about the character.
So, speaking
That's
of
way more
which,
engaging.
do you guys want to hear a real American Nightmare?
Okay.
Shepard's voice actor voicing Alan Wake's narration.
Excuse me?
As I approached the shadow, I saw that the shadows had dark stuff in them. I've had enough of these dark... I've had enough of this disingenuous writing.
That's another good point. Who's better, FemShep or regular Shepard? FemShep, just because she puts more into the role than male Shepard does.
Why do you hire these expensive professional actors and then ask them to not do anything?
Yeah.
Well, it's a matter of direction. Actually, what happens is, it's not even that they're just saying, like, be boring. It's that they're not really giving the voice actor much clue to their character's motivation, and that sort of thing. That's why, so, you know, I was listening to, what's her name? The woman who voices Gladys and the announcer and stuff.
Oh, yes. She's magnificent.
The one
Anyway,
who...
I forget
She's
her
an
name,
opera
too.
singer.
Yes,
Ellen
she is. He trained.
something.
Yes.
Right,
Yeah.
Ellen McLean.
Ellen McLean, thank you very much.
Chris comes
Ellen
through.
McLean. Ellen McLean. But she says when she was working with, whenever she works with Valve, Valve makes sure that every time she has to deliver a line, like they tell her what her character wants, what her character is feeling, what drives her character. That makes all the difference with a voice actor, because a voice actor has nothing to work with. They just have like a
sitting in
studio.
friggin'
Yeah.
booth.
Can I propose
Yeah.
an idea?
Totally.
This is their first game that is not a Max Payne game, and Max Payne very intentionally, but probably not for the betterment of the director's experience, has Max basically saying everything in a monotone, or if not monotone, one note. It was dark, and then I went into the thing and I shot the guy, and it was great. And that's all he does. And that delivery is very much this delivery in a different actor's voice.
Yeah, they went with what had worked in the past, what they knew, what they were familiar with, and what was comfortable for them. And it was wrong for the material. And again, I think some of that blind playtesting would have revealed that. Oh,
It's a Towers of Hanoi puzzle!
Oh, you gotta be shitting me.
No!
It's not really Towers of Hanoi, it's more like, remember Lights Out? It's kind of like Lights Out.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
old.
this is stupid.
I win.
Thank God for that.
Did you just
Okay,
put
that's the
people
other
in a
problem with
row?
that puzzle,
Seconds.
though. That's the
them
other
on the
problem with that
row,
puzzle,
and
is
then-
literally you go down 1, 2, 3, and then hit 1 again, and you've beaten it.
Yep.
Yep. So your default, like, alright, let me just press all the buttons and see how this thing works. Oh, I won. And I didn't even solve it. I didn't figure it out. I just pushed the buttons.
At least
You know,
it
I
wasn't
that's how I
like
made it.
harder about.
Knights of the Old Republic, where you have to go break out a cheat sheet.
I would
that
complain harder about the
bullshit.
straightforward puzzle, except if it had taken more than 10 seconds for
Oh,
Josh to do that
man.
puzzle, I would have snapped off a cactus cooler pop tab and gouged my eyes out onto the keyboard. So this works for me.
This is the wrong time in a game. This is when game designers always want to bust out the puzzles, and it's absolutely 100% the wrong time to do it. We're on the push to the finish line here. The plot is moving. We want to see how it turns out.
Yep.
This is not when you put your big set piece.
The best
This is not
place
where
to
you
put a
start slowing
puzzle
things down.
is when you're giving information? Are you giving information about some kind of history or the character or another character? That's where you put in a puzzle, because the player's already kind of thinking and pondering things. So it makes sense as
They're
far as
standing still
goes.
anyway.
Yeah.
This would be like if Alan Wake was a movie. In the second half of the third act, suddenly we have to solve the mystery of Barry's library card. Where did it go?